Hello, 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 and welcome back, family, to Masquerade Monday. My name is Huddy, and tonight we're talking LA by Night. As always, this video is not scripted, and these opinions are all my own, so take what I say with a grain of salt. The night continues into episode 3, and the Second Inquisition only seem to be increasing in strength and tactic to the horror of the vampires of LA and the audience, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The scene opens in Griffith Park, where Jason Carl, as usual, does an amazing job of describing the location, including the incredible view of the City of Angels and the iconic Hollywood sign, where Jasper was strung up and nearly met the dawn in Season 3. Looking out over the city are Jasper and his former girlfriend Chloe, who is currently a ghoul, and coordinator or manager of a ghoul network in Los Angeles. As Jasper and Chloe stare out over the panoramic view, Jasper comments that he can't look at the Hollywood sign the same way as he used to. He says now it just feels like looking at a stake he was going to be burned on. Chloe offers a different perspective, encouraging him to look at it as a symbol of how much he's overcome. We learn that Jasper has been helping Chloe free ghouls through diablerie, likely calling back to Season 4, when Chloe called in that favor Jasper owed her. Now, they talk around the subject, and I understand why it would be very strange for characters to explain things they likely already know and have talked about, but from what I could tell, Jasper is diablerizing Kindred in order to free ghouls from their masters at Chloe's direction, and he's also keeping some vitae in order to give to her so she and others can remain in their ghouled state, but it was a little bit unclear, at least to me. Chloe and Jasper seemed a bit awkward with each other, which makes sense due to their history, and it was a little sweet in a way. I really did enjoy having Becca Scott back at the table. They are a breath of fresh air amongst all these walking corpses. Jasper and Chloe talk about what they meant to each other, what they mean to each other now, and how it differs from before when they both walked in the sunlight. Chloe seems to still be open to rekindling a romantic relationship with Jasper, and although Jasper seems reticent, Chloe reminds him that the offer is time-sensitive. She has plans to expand her ghoul network, aptly titled the Archangel Network, into other cities, maybe even into other states, and she can't waste energy and time waiting on Jasper. Jasper divulges his feelings about his broken coterie, how Nellie and Victor are barons and more concerned with managing their domains than their coterie, which I personally disagree with, but I can certainly see how Jasper views it that way. How Annabelle was the glue of their group and has abandoned them, and then how X has gone so completely off the rails that he is so lost inside of himself that he doesn't even recognize his friends anymore. This is really heartbreaking to hear, and I truly hope we see X in an episode soon so we can really see how far gone he supposedly is. It is at this moment that Katja and Eva pull up to the Griffith Observatory in Katja's brand new Cadillac, and they exit out the car hand in hand. Now, we know from the stinger in episode 2 that Eva and Jasper are still very much involved, and Jasper is supporting Eva's clandestine activities within the Camarilla, whatever they might be, but when Eva addresses Jasper as Mr. Hartwood and refers to their time together as a folly and distraction, boy, that stung a little bit. Katja seems very interested in Chloe and Jasper being alone together, insinuating that Jasper tricked Eva into saving Chloe in Season 2 after she had been captured by the Second Inquisition, to which Jasper and Chloe heartily deny. Katja calls Chloe Jasper's leftovers and claims that those are Jasper's words, and although Jasper denies saying that, here's proof that he did say it.
How do you know her?
Oh, you don't know.
She is, she's left over from before.
You may have won this round, Katja, but it is very apparent that Katja has little confidence in the rekindled relationship she has with her child, and appears to be grasping at whatever she can to keep Eva close, and convinced that being with her is just better. Jasper tells Katja that there is so little she can do to hurt him, to which she responds with a simple, "I hate you." After all the posturing, Katja eventually gets down to the business at hand and informs Jasper that they recently ran into Victor Temple having a meeting with Prince Vannevar, calling back to the first episode of the season, and apparently Katja and Eva are here to press Jasper for information about the Thin Bloods. Now, I find this tactic a bit strange. In 4 seasons, the most interaction Jasper has had with Thin Bloods is accidentally killing some in Season 1. This makes me think that Eva put it in Katja's mind that perhaps because of his clan, Jasper might hold some information about the whereabouts of the Duskborn, and of course ease Katja's mind that she has indeed returned to the Camarilla regardless of the truth of Eva's intentions. Naturally, Jasper knows nothing about Thin Bloods, claims that he merely got caught in their wake due to Annabelle and Victor opening the valley to them. But Eva then asks Chloe what she knows. Chloe, ever the pragmatist and clearly channeling her former domitor Fiona, reveals to Eva and Katja that she trades in vitae in exchange for information. Eva asks if Chloe is still seeking to become kindred, but Chloe says that now, she'd rather stay as she is, more powerful than human, but without the weaknesses of vampires. Eva agrees to the terms of Chloe's deal and offers her vitae from her own wrist, as the risk of the blood bond is much lower with Tremere due to their clan bane. As she goes to feed Chloe her blood, Eva purposefully wafts her open wrist in front of Jasper's face. I'm not sure the reasoning for this, maybe just to be cheeky, but Jasper's beast is not something I would personally tease. Also, then Jasper tells Katja to smile more, and can we stop saying that to women, please, even our enemies? Come on, Jasper, it's 2021, you can do better than that. As Eva and Katja prepare to leave, just as in the last 2 episodes, all hell breaks loose. Several armed people come out of the observatory, as well as SUVs that pull up on them out of the darkness. Katja casts High Winds, and finally we get to see magic she has up her sleeve, and we learn that she is a weather witch, which means she harnesses the power of Regio Tempestus, or weather control, and at high enough levels, a wielder of this blood sorcery can call down lightning, just like another blood witch we know. The wind smashes into the people, and they exclaim, "Got a witch!" Man, these SI are really well informed, aren't they? Chloe and Jasper jump down into the scrub brush behind the cliff, and what they see when they get down there can only be described as red fog. Creeping up towards the observatory and emanating from this unnatural vapor is wailing, keening, the sound of penitent souls screaming into the night. Now, for those of you who are obsessed with playing the new Battle Royale Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt like I am, red gas will immediately ring a bell for you. But what is it exactly? For the most part, still unknown. But here's what we do know about it. The red gas is a chemical weapon deployed against the kindred by the Second Inquisition. It has effects on kindred flesh similar to exposure to the sun, making it a dangerous weapon. Red gas supposedly smells of sandalwood and myrrh, and most kindred survivors have reported hearing wailing voices in the gas, like the ones previously described, with some kindred claiming it is the sounds of their human victims. The red gas may have been used in the 2008 attack on the Tremere Chantry in Vienna, with witnesses claiming red rain and smoke poured out of the ordnance, melting cold flesh from bone. And it's important to note that red mist does not harm or affect humans in any way. Some say that the average human can't even see it, but the truth is hard to know with such things. At the sight of this red mist, Jasper pulls Chloe onto his back and leaps up on top of the observatory, while Chloe fires midair at the assailants, but with as armored as they are, it doesn't hurt them much. Meanwhile, on the ground, as Katja attempts to use Force Bolt on a hooded figure amongst the Second Inquisition, and it fails, as if this mortal nullified her magic. Neither here nor there, but it took me forever to find some reference to Force Bolt in a VTM book. Finally, I found it in Laws of the Night, a core book for Mind's Eye Theater, a system for LARP in the World of Darkness. It is apparently a path of Regio Motus, better known as movement of the mind. So Eva isn't the only one with a penchant for learning old thaumaturgy, it seems. Eva, on the other hand, successfully uses Zeus's Fury on the hooded figure, who suffers significant damage. And although Eva attempts to get the agents to turn tail and run, their response is a pithy, "Stuff it, witch." Eva retorts with movement of the mind and attempts to fling her singed victim to the edge of the cliff. Just as with Katja, Eva's magic is not as strong as it should be, but strong enough to move her fairly close to the cliff. The agents witnessing this open fire on Eva, and bullets tear into her undead flesh, filling her health track with superficial damage. Chloe asks Jasper to go help Eva, but Jasper refuses, saying only that he cannot help, that if he does, she will be in even more danger. And I assume this has something to do with Eva's plan, the one she mentioned to Jasper during their clandestine meeting in the last episode stinger. Hopefully we'll learn what it is before the chronicle comes to a close. So instead, Jasper flings himself off the roof, exclaiming, "Run, you idiots," and takes off running, attempting to lead the SI away from Katja and Eva. Katja, distraught to see her child get so heavily damaged, tells her to run, and looks up to Chloe, still on the observatory roof, and uses Theft of Vitae, where a practitioner of blood sorcery opens a wound in a major artery of a mortal victim through mystical means, and the blood shoots out through the air in a stream towards the open mouth of the user, with the wound closing by itself once the effect ends, whether the victim lives or not. Unfortunately for Katja, but fortunately for Chloe, this was unsuccessful, and her hunger continues to gnaw at her insides. So instead, Katja summons fog, and a ghostly gray-green mist floods the area and into the woods. Eva, meanwhile, does not listen to the urging to flee from her sire, but instead uses movement of the mind on herself, and throws the napalm grenade she had received from Greg last season. Jasper, seeing the explosion go off and the fog filling the woods around him, charges back towards the agents and sees a bag on the ground, and suffers the compulsion of his clan, the obsession of discovering a secret. Whatever is in that bag. So instead of grabbing the bag and running off with it, Jasper feels compelled to stop in his tracks and open it, even as agents are approaching from behind. Inside the bag is a massive mace with a cross welded into it, and although Jasper uses the mace against his attackers, they have automatic weapons and open fire, filling Jasper's health track with superficial damage. Chloe, still attempting to flee the scene, successfully hotwires Katja's Cadillac, burning a significant amount of willpower to do so. Barely able to see through the fog, Chloe nearly runs Jasper over, but he is able to jump on top of the car, punch through the roof, and hang on as Chloe speeds out of Griffith Park. They escape, but not before Jasper is touched by that red mist, and it burns him for 2 aggravated damage as the wails of screaming souls rings in his ears. Katja and Eva escape through the fog, but not together. As Katja screams out for her child, Eva does not respond, and instead, using unseen passage, flees from her sire and the Second Inquisition in the opposite direction. The vignette plays, and for the first time since season 1, we see Eleanor, Annabelle's girlfriend, looking at Belle and Elle's power playlist on Spotify, something we have heard about time and time again. The song added is "I Don't Want to Live on the Moon," and upon seeing it, Elle smiles, fangs poking out from her wide grin. Annabelle admitted that in season 3, Eleanor was indeed made kindred, but did not divulge whether she had done it or someone else, such as her ally Ramona the Gangrel. I suppose we will learn soon if Eleanor is a Gangrel or a Duskborn. If you haven't already, please go follow the World of Darkness Twitch channel, subscribe to them on YouTube, and if you can, sub to their channel on Twitch. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to me as well, and let me know your thoughts on episode 3, Night Flowers, in the comments. As always, I'll see you in the next one.